Hello, this is my analysis for track one of the EP, which is currently called Oh Golly My Gosh. It's a 4 track EP currently, with my thoughts being no matter how good the fourth best track is, which obviously I'd hope they're all good, but they're probably not all going to be amazing. But even if it was, I'm going to condense it down to 3 just to keep it short and sweet and then allow me to focus on my music video, which me and Jack will be completing adjacently in about 2 weeks or so on week 6. So the first 4 weeks, I've kind of adhered to my plan really, worked towards my beats and I've created them. So yeah, here's track one. I'd like to start by explaining this as small sound bite. This is a whole other project, which was this small bit here, which I've imported in from another project, added here and thought would work nicely as a kind of introduction. So I'll play that. Might have to turn the volume up as well here so you can hear it. So yeah. All stock instruments. Hasn't been fully mixed yet, but hopefully in 2 weeks or so, on my next review, I'll be able to show you the fully mixed version. So yeah, the track begins. Just want to reiterate for Ian, this is all my work. All 4 of the tracks I'm going to be showing you today in the 4 videos are, my work that I've done so far, and these are the versions that I actually sent off to Jack. So my work in the final form, I guess. So yeah, I'll start explaining it. So yeah, start off with Yes Yes Please is actually a preset I made on my synth. Made it a few months ago when I was first learning synthesis. I've kind of learned a bit more since, so there are my own personal tweaks. Beginning with cutting off the high end here for this graphic EQ, mainly because I quite like my mellow sounds and not so much the harsh, the sharp stuff, which I find can often be harder to mix as a beginner. It's easier to mix the more mellow and nice sounds, and I can create a nicer sound with it. So that's my reasoning there. I haven't messed with the shapes too much. Filter envelope. I've worked decrease it. I think it was originally on 0, the original preset, which I've then increased to 0.64. Just to stop clicking. When a sound comes in suddenly without fading it, or in this instance without attack or very slight amount of attack, it can clip. Ideally I probably want to turn it up to like maybe 1 to 4 maybe. I don't really know my specs, but yeah, it seems like I'm cutting the line quite thin with this one. I have added flanger as well, and I think the main telltale part of the sound is the audio bend, which kind of acts like a glide. Finally, for this part, I've decided to do 2 in unison. Oh god, that's a bad time to forget. Voice detuning. So what voice detuning does is, if you do have multiple parts, I think in unison, with 2 voices, it'll create 2 voices that are slightly dissonant, but in the end achieve the same kind of sound. So I've added some detune, which has given it a bit more of a full sound rather than almost like an oscillator beat. So yeah, that's Yes Yes Please. Sorry, I've taken a while, but that's probably the longest to explain. Got a bass here, kind of just follows the same key notes. I'll go through the chord and I'll find the root notes by just seeing what sounds the best. They might not all be root notes, but yeah, I've tried to arrange it best, as you can see as well. For the most part, it is just a copy of this 8-bar loop, which in seeing Jack's version in a few weeks' time, you'll see the arrangement is much different. But for the most part, it's kind of arranged like this. I've learnt to not mess with it too much, but by copying and pasting this and then slightly, just control Ming, so muting different sections, I can create more of a rhythm and a flow. In hindsight, I could use more maybe more um, automation and stuff, as Jack has taught me. A neat way of going through a track is to automate different things like drive, not just volume, you know, automate frequencies as well to create maybe like a swell that builds up towards the end of a track, all sorts of stuff. Yeah, drums, not too much there. This is actually a jazz loop, which I've sped up and has given me a nice drive to the track, I guess. The only difference between these two tracks being this one is bit crushed, which gives it a bit of variety, not in the chorus here, but in the build up, where you're paying attention to it a bit more, I think, rather than here where there's a tad more going on. Yeah, I think the final part to explain about this track, maybe I can explain some more, but the final part, for the most part, is this sample. And then, yeah, so literally all I've done is I've gone on YouTube, I've scoured the web, and my dad actually has been telling me to include sampling, Mongolian sounds, you know, respect my heritage and stuff like that. So yeah, I thought I'd do well on that and try my best. So I've actually found a Mongolian long song, as they call it, which was backed by quite loud instrumental, but you know, luckily living in the year we do in 2024, I was able to isolate that with AI, and I've isolated these vocals, which I've then chopped quite a bit to give it more of a rhythm and my own feel, and not to make sure I'm not just lifting someone else's music. So yeah, I mean, I think that's all it is really for the most part. This has a really long chain. I'll explain this finally. Yeah, it's a bit of an EDM sound really. It's quite nice. Hammered wood, like my normal approach, I guess. I've kind of found a patch, I guess you call it a patch, and because I'm not really good at creating my own sounds, curating my own sounds from scratch yet. So I found a patch, and you know, add my own effects. Space Designer. I found that on Warped Effects and Textures, it has a lot of really weird and strange effects that are quite hard to achieve just by thinking it up. So it can do some quite interesting things sometimes with just the click of a button. So, and Sparkling Stream here, you know, just strange reverb effects. Another reverb. I mean, it might seem like I'm overdoing it, but yeah, the effects is quite nice. And some gain, finally. I think I've added a bit of gain just because it was a bit quiet. I could have just increased the volume, but yeah, I decided to increase gain. So yeah, for the most part, that is the whole track, I guess. So yeah. Sweet. Cheers.